library.
Most people ruin their lives not because they care too little, but because they care about everything. They waste energy defending opinions they don't believe in, chasing goals they don't even want, and fighting battles that will never reward them. The real tragedy is simple. They don't choose what deserves their attention. They spend their life giving a fuck to noise. Chapter 1. The Luxury of Caring Less. Let's start with a brutal truth. You only have a limited amount of attention, a limited amount of energy, a limited capacity to care. If you give a fuck about every comment, every trend, every opinion, every criticism, every shiny goal the world throws at you, your mind becomes a shopping mall of distractions, and no millionaire mindset can survive inside a crowded attention store. The modern world pushes you to care about everything. Social media trains your brain to crave validation. Ads convince you that happiness is a product. Entertainment celebrates people living extraordinary lives, so you feel like you're failing if you're not 20 and driving a yacht. Ambition becomes stress. Comparison becomes torture. You feel guilty for not being extraordinary. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt behind in life just because someone online posted their success? Did you punish yourself mentally because someone your age bought a house, built a business, or traveled to Bali? Be honest, you cared. You cared too much, and that's the problem. Not caring in the millionaire sense doesn't mean detachment or laziness. It means selection. Caring less is not apathy, it's strategy. It's deciding what matters and discarding the rest like cheap noise. The quiet power is choosing your battles with intention. Like a successful investor, you don't diversify your attention across 100 meaningless assets. You invest heavily in a few valuable ones. A great career doesn't come from caring about every opportunity. It comes from saying no to most of them. A meaningful relationship doesn't come from impressing everyone. It comes from giving love to someone specific. A good body doesn't come from trying every fitness trend. It comes from sticking to one simple plan long enough to see results. Your life is shaped not by what you do, but by what you refuse to give energy to. Let's make it concrete. Imagine two entrepreneurs. The first one chases every idea. They try trading crypto because it's trending, launch a podcast because it's cool, start a clothing brand because a YouTuber said it's easy money. They distract themselves with movement instead of progress. They care about being busy, not effective. The second entrepreneur chooses one direction. They ignore trends, they ignore noise. They build slowly, master one skill deeply, and take pain as an investment. Guess who wins? Not the one who cares about everything, the one who cares selectively. Here's another example. You might think luxury is buying expensive things. It's not. Luxury is freedom from caring about superficial expectations. A person who buys a sports car to impress strangers is a slave. A person who buys a simple car and uses the saved money to build a business is free. Real wealth isn't loud. Real wealth doesn't try to impress. Real wealth doesn't give a fuck about opinions. Let's take it deeper. Pain is inevitable. You will struggle. You will sacrifice. You will lose people. You will fail. So the question isn't how to avoid pain. The question is, what pain is worth it? Do you want the pain of grinding for something meaningful, or the pain of constantly feeling inadequate because you care about superficial things? People spend years suffering from the pain of comparison, jealousy, insecurity, and perfectionism. And for what? To impress people they don't even respect? To fit into a world that rewards fake happiness? That type of suffering is the ultimate poor mindset. The millionaire mindset chooses pain with meaning, not the pain of pretending. Let me challenge you. Think about one thing in your life that consumes your mental energy but gives you nothing. An opinion you're trying to change, a person you're trying to impress, a lifestyle you're trying to fake. Ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped caring? What would collapse? Probably nothing. You'd gain time. You'd gain emotional wealth. You'd upgrade your inner world. Caring less is not an escape. It's a discipline. It's the decision to align your attention with your values. When you master this, life becomes lighter but sharper. You become calm but unstoppable. People respect you because you stop chasing validation. You only invest in what builds your future. When you stop giving a fuck about everything, you gain the most expensive asset on earth: focus. And focus is what builds wealth, influence, and peace of mind. Start caring less, not because you're weak, but because your attention is too valuable to waste on anything that doesn't make you grow.
Chapter 2. Choosing your battles like a millionaire. The fastest way to ruin your potential is simple. Fight every battle that appears in front of you. Most people don't fail from lack of talent or ambition. They fail because they waste their strength on meaningless conflicts. They argue with people who don't matter. They try to convince those who won't listen. They defend their worth to those who never valued them from the start. A millionaire mindset knows this truth. Your life improves the moment you stop trying to win every war. Let me ask you directly, how many arguments could you have avoided if you simply chose silence? How many judgments could you have ignored without losing anything? How many people would hold zero power over you today if you never tried to impress them? We live in an age where everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to react, comment, defend, correct. People fight strangers online. They debate opinions they don't even believe deeply. They defend ideologies they don't practice. They spend emotional energy on things that have no impact on their life. It's like watching someone throw diamonds into a river because a random person questioned their value. Real wealth is emotional discipline. Rich or poor, you pay a price every time you care about nonsense. The rich pay attention to what builds their life. The poor spend attention on distractions, comfort, ego, and noise. Wealth isn't just money. Wealth is the ability to protect your focus. Here's a simple rule. If it won't matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes caring about it. Someone disrespected you? Fine. You don't need their respect to build your future. Someone thinks your dream is stupid? Good. Most people have no dream, so why would they understand yours? Someone wants you to justify your choices? Don't. Your purpose is not a courtroom. You don't owe a speech to people who won't contribute to your growth. Let me give you a real-world example. I once met a young man who worked tirelessly on a startup. He had vision, discipline, passion, but he spent half his energy fighting with negative relatives who mocked him. They predicted his failure. They questioned every step. He took it personally. He explained himself, defended his goals, argued back. He cared too much. Years passed, his progress slowed, his energy was consumed by battles that had no reward. One day, exhausted, he stopped answering them. He stopped explaining. He stopped reacting. His business doubled in less than a year. That growth didn't come from more skill. It came from selected focus. He won the moment he stopped trying to win their approval. Now think about relationships. You don't need to argue to be understood. You don't need to fight to be respected. Someone who constantly tries to prove their worth becomes unattractive, weak, needy. The strongest relationship is built on boundaries. A person who values their peace has presence. They speak only when it matters. They walk away when it doesn't. You don't need to win small fights. Save your voice for big decisions. In business, choosing your battles is strategy. A smart entrepreneur doesn't compete with everyone. They focus on one niche, one market, one identity. A smart investor doesn't fight every trend. They choose one long-term direction and let noise pass by. Professionals aren't paid for effort. They're paid for results. And results come from selective action, not chaotic movement. Let's go deeper. Caring less isn't lack of empathy. It's prioritizing what deserves your strength. You protect your time, you protect your peace, you protect your mind. You stop chasing explanations. You stop defending your dreams. You stop giving energy to anything that doesn't build you. This is the question that changes everything. What will matter when your life is bigger than it is today? Will this argument matter? Will this opinion matter? Will this person's judgment matter? When you live from your future, your present becomes simpler. Drama becomes irrelevant. Opinions lose value. Peace becomes priceless. Start being selective. Choose your battles the way a millionaire chooses investments, not by emotion, by return. Does this fight give value? Does this conversation bring growth? Does this connection open doors? Does this struggle strengthen you? If the answer is no, walk away without guilt. Walking away is not weakness, it's wealth. The more powerful you become, the less you need to explain. The more focused you become, the less you feel the urge to react. The more selective you become, the less chaos controls your life. So here's the challenge for this week. When something provokes you, before reacting, ask yourself, is this battle worth my attention? If not, don't explain, don't argue, don't justify. Just let silence win for you. Silence is not surrender. Silence is strategy. Silence protects your energy, and your energy builds your life. Because in the end, winning is not defeating others. Winning is refusing to waste your limited power on anything that doesn't lead to a richer, calmer, truer future. Subscribe to the Millionaire Library, and if you want to go deeper, I left a full playlist waiting for you in the description.
Chapter 3. The Value of Losing on Purpose. Most people are obsessed with winning every situation. They want to look smart, be admired, be right, be praised, and never be criticized. They treat life like a competition they must conquer, even in moments where victory gives no reward. And that obsession to always win is exactly what makes them lose. Let me tell you something counterintuitive. There are situations where the smartest move is to lose, to let go, to step back, to accept looking wrong, to walk away without proving anything. Real strength is not measured by how many battles you win, but by how many you refuse to fight because the reward is too small for your attention. Imagine two people arguing online. Hours wasted, energy burned, ego inflated, nothing learned, no result gained. Who won? No one. They both lost. They traded peace for noise.
They traded time for ego. And life does not reward the loudest ego. Life rewards the calm strategist. A rich mindset doesn't chase validation. It chooses meaning. It doesn't compete to impress strangers. It invests attention only where growth exists. This is why powerful people don't fight for reputation. They build results. Noise disappears. Results stay. Here's a psychological truth. People who need to win every time actually feel insecure inside. Their worth depends on external approval. So they argue, they prove, they defend, they explain. They desperately need others to believe they are something. But the most confident people don't need to be believed. They only need to be focused. True power is silent because it doesn't need recognition to exist. Let's bring this into real life. Picture yourself in a conversation with someone who clearly doesn't want to understand you. They're not listening, they're reacting, they're defending their ego, they're trying to win against you, not learn from you. If you insist on proving your point, you lose twice. You lose time and you lose peace. But if you simply say, "I respect your view," and move on, they think they won, yet you gain something far more valuable: freedom. Freedom is wealth. Freedom is emotional profit. Freedom is winning without participating in useless battles. Now look at your career or business. You don't need to win every customer. You don't need to convince every investor. You don't need to chase every opportunity. You don't need every market to believe in you. Most people fail not because they lack skill, but because they try to please the wrong audience. If someone doesn't value you, don't fight them. Don't give discounts to buy attention. Don't change yourself to attract people who don't respect your value. Losing that person, that deal, that approval is winning. It protects you from a bad partnership, a toxic client, or a draining relationship. You don't want everyone to like you. You want to attract the few who align with your future. Let's take relationships. Sometimes the wisest decision is to let someone misunderstand you, to let them think they're right, to let them believe they won. Because proving yourself costs you peace, and peace is priceless. The older you get, the more you realize this. Losing arguments saves your life. You don't need to win to protect your dignity. You protect your dignity by choosing your heart over your ego. Millionaire minds lose selectively. They ignore disrespect instead of feeding it. They ignore gossip instead of reacting to it. They ignore competition when it's irrelevant. They let people think they're wrong if explaining wastes too much attention. They don't fight for the last word. They fight for the future. So ask yourself right now, in your life, what are you still trying to win that brings you nothing? Who are you trying to impress? Who are you trying to convince? Which fights do you keep returning to even though they drain you more than they reward you? Choose to lose on purpose. Lose the argument. Lose the need to be admired. Lose the temptation to react. Lose the habit of defending yourself. Lose the obsession with pleasing everyone. Because when you stop fighting battles that don't matter, you have energy for the ones that do. When you stop caring about looking right, you gain clarity to do what is right. And when you stop chasing victory in every small situation, you build victory in the one that matters, your life. The richest people in the world don't win every moment. They win the right moments. They lose what is worthless so they can protect what is priceless. So here's your challenge for this chapter. The next time someone tries to provoke you, question you, bait you, challenge you unnecessarily, Don't react. Let them win. Let them think they proved something. Smile internally, knowing that you saved your energy for something greater. Because the moment you stop fighting for small wins, your life opens space for big ones.
Chapter 4. The Art of Strategic Disappointment. Here's a truth nobody wants to admit. If you want real peace, wealth, and power over your life, you must let some people be disappointed in you. Not a little, a lot. You must allow them to think you've changed, that you're selfish, that you don't care enough. Because you cannot live a strong life while trying to protect every fragile expectation around you. People don't get drained by ambition, they get drained by trying to make everyone happy while chasing it. Think about it. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many projects, favors, or conversations have you accepted just to avoid upsetting someone? How many goals have you delayed because you were afraid someone would feel neglected? Most goals die not from lack of skill, but from a desperate need to keep everyone comfortable. A millionaire mindset doesn't chase comfort. It protects purpose, and purpose requires sacrifice. Not sacrifice of joy or health, but sacrifice of approval. Let me share a simple story. A young woman had a dream to build her own business. She had the skill, the courage, the ideas. But every time she tried to focus, her family asked her for help, her friends wanted her attention, her colleagues needed her. She believed being kind meant being available, so she helped everyone all the time. She kept giving. She kept showing up. She thought she was doing the right thing. But slowly, her dream faded. Not because she failed, but because she refused to disappoint anyone. Then one day, she decided to protect her time. She said no, respectfully, but firmly. She stopped being endlessly available. She stopped explaining. Some people got upset. Some judged her. Some said she had changed, and they were right. She changed her priorities to save her life. Within 2 years, she became financially independent. She didn't win because she worked harder. She won because she accepted that her path couldn't please everyone. Here's the paradox. The more valuable your time becomes, the more people will feel entitled to it, and the only way to protect your future is to disappoint those who try to control your present. Let's apply this to your life. Not every message deserves a response. Not every request deserves your time. Not every expectation deserves to be met. You cannot build something great while constantly apologizing for focusing on it. Disappointment is not disrespect. It is clarity. It is choosing what matters most. It is trusting that the right people for your life will adjust, and the wrong people will fall away. Let's take business. Great leaders are not loved for their availability. They are respected for their boundaries. They don't answer every email instantly. They don't say yes to every meeting. They don't waste time in unfocused conversations. Their respect comes from their standards. They choose results over validation. The same is true in friendships. Not everyone deserves your emotional labor. Real friends don't demand your presence at every moment. They support your growth even if it means seeing you less. If someone is offended by your evolution, they never were with you, only with your convenience. Romantic relationships are similar. Love is not measured by constant attention. Love grows when two people support each other's goals. If your partner guilt trips your ambition, they don't love your future. They love your availability. And you cannot build a life with someone who fears your independence. Strategic disappointment is not cruelty. It's alignment. It's asking a powerful question. Who loses access when I protect my potential? And why were they entitled to it in the first place? The most successful people are misunderstood at first.
They're judged, criticized, and labeled selfish because greatness requires you to prioritize things most people ignore. Silence for thinking, time for creating, boundaries for focus, patience for building. And while others gossip about how cold you're becoming, you quietly transform your life. You don't need vengeance. You don't need explanation. You don't need validation. You just need direction. If someone gets upset because you finally prioritize yourself, let them. If someone thinks you're arrogant because you protect your peace, let them. If someone complains that you're no longer available the way you were when you struggled, let them. They're not mad at you. They're mad that you no longer feed their expectations. So here's the challenge. This week, say no once without explanation. Leave one message unanswered. Protect 1 hour for your future. Someone may be disappointed. Good. That reaction reveals who benefits from your lack of boundaries. Let them feel it, and let yourself feel something stronger, the beginning of freedom.
Chapter 5. The Freedom of Not Being Special. Everyone today wants to be exceptional. They want to be the youngest millionaire, the most productive creator, the most admired entrepreneur, the most different person in the room. The world sold a lie that your life only matters if it is extraordinary. And this lie destroys more dreams than failure ever will. Here's a harsh truth that liberates you the moment you accept it. You don't need to be special to build a beautiful life. You don't need to be extraordinary to be fulfilled, wealthy, peaceful, or respected. Pressure to be exceptional is the most effective way to keep you average. It makes you chase attention instead of results. It makes you compare instead of build. It makes you crave admiration instead of mastery. Let's look at the modern trap. A young man wants to start a business, but before even learning the basics, he's trying to figure out how to scale to millions. A student wants to learn a skill, but she immediately feels behind because someone on the internet is already a genius at it. A beginner goes to the gym, and instead of focusing on health, they feel ashamed because they don't look impressive enough. The pressure to be spectacular kills progress before it even begins. You know what successful people do differently. They start ordinary. They allow themselves to be bad. They're comfortable being unseen while they develop. They don't chase recognition. They chase improvement. Their ego doesn't demand applause on day one. They don't care if their progress is invisible. They understand something powerful. Mastery grows in the dark. Let me share a brief story. A man spent 3 years trying to become a successful content creator. He changed niches, copied trends, bought cameras, obsessed over branding. He wanted to look successful more than he wanted to learn. One day, exhausted, he stopped chasing attention. He picked one topic he liked. He studied quietly. He posted consistently without caring about views. In less than a year, he built a real audience. The difference wasn't talent. It was freedom from the need to be special. When you remove the pressure of being exceptional, you unlock the discipline to become excellent. Let's make this personal. Have you ever felt ashamed for being average at something new? Felt embarrassed for starting small? Felt insecure because others seem ahead? That feeling doesn't come from truth. It comes from ego. Ego wants instant recognition. Ego wants applause without effort. Ego wants to skip the years of growth. Smart living rejects ego. Smart living chooses patience. Successful people choose boring consistency over dramatic expectations. They don't need to look unique. They just need to improve one small thing repeatedly. They don't need to be admired. They just need to learn. They don't need to feel special. They just need to be focused. Here's a practical shift.
Instead of asking, how can I be extraordinary, start asking, how can I be better than yesterday? Instead of thinking, what makes me special? Think, what skill am I willing to suffer for? Instead of trying to impress, try to improve. There is nothing wrong with being average in most areas of your life. In fact, it's healthy. Most things don't need to be mastered. You don't need to dominate every skill, every trend, every opportunity. You only need to excel in a few areas that truly matter to you. Millionaire minds are selective. They don't chase 50 talents. They master one path deeply, and that depth makes them powerful. Let's apply this to your relationships. You don't need to be the perfect friend, the perfect partner, the perfect child. Those who love you don't need perfection. They need presence. Real connection grows from honesty, not performance. If someone expects you to be exceptional to love you, that's not love. That's dependency on your usefulness. Now let's apply it to happiness. Happiness isn't a trophy given for extraordinary achievements. You can be content living simply, building slowly, growing quietly. You can earn well without being famous. You can be powerful without being known. The happiest people are not the most admired. They are the most aligned. At the end of the day, trying to be special is a prison. It keeps you stressed, insecure, rushed, and constantly comparing yourself to others. But accepting that you are ordinary in most areas frees you to become excellent in one meaningful direction. It frees you to enjoy life. It frees you to contribute instead of perform. Let me ask you a question. If no one ever knew about your success, would you still pursue it? If the answer is no, then you don't want success. You want approval. And approval is a cheap goal. It disappears the moment people stop clapping. Success built on meaning lasts quietly for a lifetime. So let yourself start small. Let yourself be unseen. Let yourself be average at most things. Focus your ambition where it matters. Don't waste your strength trying to be special. Build something real instead. Ordinary effort done daily becomes extraordinary over time. Not because you wanted to impress, but because you cared about what truly matters. Subscribe to Millionaire Library, and if you want to go deeper, I'll left the full playlist waiting for you in the description.
Chapter 6. Emotional Minimalism. Caring without carrying. A quiet but powerful truth. Most suffering doesn't come from life itself, but from the emotional weight we attach it to it. Life gives you events. You give them meaning. And when you overload every situation with emotion, you drain yourself faster than any challenge ever could. The millionaire mindset values emotional minimalism. You still care, but you don't carry. You love, but you don't lose yourself. You feel deeply, but you don't drown inside every emotion. You respect your feelings without letting them dominate your actions. Think about how often emotions sabotage your decisions. You hesitate because you fear judgment. You abandon goals because you dislike discomfort. You hold on to people who harm you because loneliness scares you. Emotion becomes a dictator. It tells you where you can go, what risks to avoid, what chances to reject. And you listen because you think emotions are truth. But emotions are not truth. They are reactions. They are signals, not instructions. Let me ask you something simple. How many times have you regretted something you did out of strong emotion? And how many times have you regretted something you did after thinking calmly? Emotional decisions often feel right in the moment, but destroy our future. Strategic decisions often feel uncomfortable in the moment, but protect our future. Emotional minimalism isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's knowing which emotions deserve attention and which should pass through you like wind.
Not every feeling deserves a decision. Not every thought deserves a reaction. Not every impulse needs expression. Some emotions are just weather in your mind. Let them pass. Let's bring this into relationships. If you react to every mood someone has, you lose peace. If you take every comment personally, you become fragile. If you expect constant emotional comfort from others, you become dependent. Emotional minimalism makes you quietly strong. You don't cling, you don't chase, you don't explain every feeling, you simply choose who and what is worth your emotional investment. In money and business, emotional minimalism is discipline. It keeps you from impulsive spending, rushing opportunities, fearing competition, or panicking when things go wrong. Investors who let emotions control them lose fortunes. Entrepreneurs who make decisions based on anxiety lose progress. Wealth is built with emotional calm, not emotional chaos. Here's a practical shift. Before reacting to anything, ask, does this need emotion or strategy? A late reply from someone? That needs no emotion. A temporary failure? That needs strategy, not despair. A stressful challenge? That needs patience, not panic. A disagreement? That needs boundaries, not drama. Emotional minimalism doesn't mean feel less, it means feel wiser. Don't give every emotion VIP status in your mind. Be a gatekeeper. Let emotions inform you, but don't let them lead you. When you master this, your life becomes lighter. Your relationships become calmer. Your decisions become sharper. And success becomes more predictable. Calm is a competitive advantage. Conclusion: the wealth of not giving a fuck. If you've understood this book, you've learned something radical. Your life is defined not by how much you care, but by what you choose to care about. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to fight everyone. You don't need to be special. You don't need to be understood. You don't need to win every moment. And you don't need to feel every emotion intensely. The quiet rich don't waste time on noise. They don't spend emotional energy on chaos. They don't seek approval. They don't chase every opportunity. They don't overreact. They choose their life by choosing their focus. They care deeply, but selectively. And that is real freedom. Your attention is your fortune. Your emotions are your energy. Your peace is your luxury. Stop spending them on what doesn't grow you. Your life will not change when you care more. It will change when you stop caring about the wrong things. Protect your focus, and wealth follows. Protect your mind, and peace follows. Protect your values, and meaning follows. Never forget, the world doesn't reward people who care about everything. It rewards people who choose wisely. Your future is built by what you decide is worth your limited attention. So choose few things. Choose aligned things. Choose meaningful things. And give them everything. The rest, let it go. You don't need to give a fuck.